While the album format may dominate the industry pretty much everywhere you look, electronic dance music tends to utilize the EP format more than others, it seems. Artists will go years without producing a full-length album, but have double-digit EP releases. Maybe it's just the way EDM is listened to and experienced, but you can't deny the foothold that EPs or extended plays have on the EDM space. Typically a package of 3 to 7 tracks, EPs give artists a great opportunity to explore a specific sound, style, genre, or tone they wouldn't typically produce. Or maybe it's an artist showcasing their expertise of a particular sound in a more condensed format. Regardless, EPs are one of the most important release formats within electronic dance music. So with the year all wrapped up, I think it's time to look back at all that EDM had to offer and give my list for the top 10 EDM EPs of 2025. Every art form has a certain few artists with elite status. It almost becomes an event when they release something new. Think of your Steven Spielbergs or Christopher Nolans in the realm of movies, or even, yes, Taylor Swift in pop music, or I guess just music in general. And I'm starting to think that this guy is hitting cult status with each new release. Ever since the 2020s hit, Eliminate has been a staple producer in the bass side of EDM, primarily residing with that overarching trap and dubstep subgenre. Just last year, we saw a release of his debut album Get Off the Internet, which saw strong critical reception and wide industry appeal. And while that album just missed a spot on my list for top albums that year, I would actually say that Turn It Up is a stronger package. At 5 tracks and 16 minutes in length, this EP makes you want to do its namesake. Turn it up. Tackling most predominantly dubstep and brostep, Eliminate splashes in some really great hybrid trap, bass house, and jump-up movements that complement the no-nonsense nature of this record. It's loud, it's aggressive, it's in your face, and it's unapologetically Eliminate. Banger after banger, Eliminate is hitting us with an engaging balance of bounce and thrash. All of these tracks feel unique in their own way, while keeping the core intensity of the EP very much at the forefront. It's hard to find an artist with as much consistency and quality as Eliminate continually produces, and seemingly with ease. He's one of the golden boys in bass and the overarching EDM space right now, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for him. In 2025, I tried to make a real valiant effort to seek out and listen to more underground music and what I call emerging artists. With this channel, I try to cover as much of the EDM space as I can, and so it's sometimes hard to find new artists that grab my attention so instantaneously. And boy, am I glad I found these Polish twins. Released in the literal second week of the year, Two Turntables and the Mic has been an EP I have revisited maybe more than anything else this year. TESSERACTS have this real invigorating D&B and neurofunk production that just gets to the core of who I am as a music listener. Their sound has such a crunch and grit to it that almost feels foreign within the overarching drum and bass space, but absolutely feels right at home. I love the aesthetic of this EP more than anything. Two Turntables and the Mic is quite self-explanatory actually, as the twins helm 2 turntables and a mic. There's this ever-present hip-hop flair to the project that gives it this edge, push of creativity and uniqueness. More than just being a stellar EP in its own right, I can also see how this would play out in a live context and visualize the whole set as I listen through it. And my goodness, I lose it at that second track crazy. The vinyl scratching and vocal chops lead into this drop that dives headfirst into this most destructive halftime beat with just this commanding production to it. I love it, one of my favorite tracks. TESSERACTS might just be my favorite underground producers right now. And with their recent Monster Cat release in early 2026 that has come out at the time of this video, I'm hoping everything is up and to the right for them moving forward. They definitely deserve it.
You can't spot no flaws on my back.
If you've been in the scene long enough, artists can tend to find themselves at a crossroads of sorts in terms of where they want to take their sound and identity. So what do you do when you find yourself at the precipice of a new sound, but still holding on to the past? Well, you produce your best EP yet. Chime should really need no introduction at this point, as the pioneer of color bass and a main stage in the dubstep space. But Chime found himself in a liminal space in 2025, releasing single after single on a flurry of labels with the recognition that there is something brand new for him on the horizon. And to transition themselves into this new era, we got the aptly named Between. Sonically, I would say this EP is a bit of an oxymoron. It somehow stays true to the genre he coined himself, yet strays into fairly unfamiliar territory. But don't be fooled by the fancy and colorful production. This EP has something fairly personal to share. If his 2023 album Aetherborn shared this cinematic narrative of digital consciousness and simulated reality, Between is an expression of a more grounded, personal narrative where he doesn't know where he belongs as a musician in the industry and a person within humanity. You've got lines all throughout this EP like, "My curse is a gift, my gift is a curse, one more victory might be the end of me, I've been wondering why I've never felt human, what's the point of living if it ain't even mine," and so much more. There is a real struggle Chime is expressing through this EP, and it acts as a truly beautiful double entendre of where he feels as an artist, almost trapped in a specific sound, just itching to break free. I'm quite anticipatory for what Chime will give us in 2026, and beyond thankful for the journey he's already brought us along for. If you've been around this channel for some time, you'll likely clue into the fact that I'm not so gung-ho about the super abrasive, heavy, modern bro-step side of EDM. That's not to say I don't enjoy it from time to time, and I have found myself more keen to it ever since I've started actually doing this channel, Bowtied Media. But, throw in some bass house, bring on some killer features, and make it your best project yet. Well, you'll land a spot on this list of mine regardless. Eptic's Darkstar is a project where I find myself amazed by the clean production, bouncy melodies, and crushing bass lines, all with that signature Eptic synth, and just screams energy. And I need to gush about the features Eptic brought on to these first 3 tracks. Liney brings that deep dubstep growl and subtle trap influences on Light Up, Habstract lays down the bass house foundation on Alone, and Space Laces, well, he's Space Laces. As is typical with most Eptic projects, there is a certain hostility present throughout the tracklist that lends itself to intense headbanging and rail grinding. It's a special talent in the EDM space to make something that's so obviously built for massive festival atmospheres, yet can be intricately picked apart and thoroughly enjoyed by the headphone crowd. It's actually wild to think that by my count, this is his 11th EP. The man just cannot stop grinding. Even with that deep discography though, Eptic has only released 2 solo projects in the 2020s, with his debut LP in 2022, and now this year's Darkstar. And maybe we're in this modern era of quality over quantity, and if that's the case for Eptic, I'm all for it. I'm not sure if it was just me, but I feel like drum and bass was really abundant this year. Maybe this is the spillover from Chase and Status's explosion in 2023, but week after week, I felt like there were a multitude of new D&B cuts, 95% of which were just by the books, not really doing anything. But that 5%, some of that was gold. What's So Not and Buunshin teamed up for one of the stronger, predominantly drum and bass projects I've heard this year with The Quiet That Hurts. In a year where I felt the specific D&B genre to be a little stale, all 5 of these tracks in this EP offer something unique and quirky. Threads has that intense, classic What's So Not synth all over it, alongside these angelic vocals. Tragic has these moments with insanely quick, I think 16th note kicks. Dancing in the Leaves is your more atmospheric liquid drum and bass tune with a light tone. The One teeters into some halftime territory, and Falling In has this long climactic song structure with a killer finale to both the track itself and the EP as a whole. On top of all the production goodness, each track has its own vocal feature, further adding to the depth and variety that this package of tunes offers. This EP is just the prime example of how to stay within a singular genre and still create a mixture of sounds, tones, and emotions. I'm also so amazed that a collaborative project like this ended up so good. Collabs are such a delicate balance and so easy to mess up, but these two artists felt like they were in complete tandem the whole time. I could hear those signature What's So Not melodies mixed with the Buunshin style of D&B that typically resides within this more neurofunk style. I'm so shocked they managed to find such a happy medium, not dominated one way or another. These guys stumbled into a magical combination. I have a particular love-hate relationship with multi-part EPs that eventually turn into one big album. For the sake of being a music critic, do I bother rating and reviewing part one of a greater whole? Do I just wait for the whole thing to drop? Will the whole thing even drop? Do I or do I not include them on a list like this? Well, when the music is this good, it kind of forces my hand. I have been a huge MILKBLOOD fan ever since their 2022 EP Dream Slow. And even though this is part of a whole and only 3 tracks long, I have to gush about these guys again. MILKBLOOD has this super unique style of electropop that is geared specifically towards that headphone crowd of true EDM fans and people like myself that love to really dive into and dissect a project. It's a fascinating dichotomy, having that word pop in the genre, but not creating a sound that is very commercial. It's like it shouldn't work, but it just does. Despite this being a part 1 project and only 3 songs long, each of these 3 songs are incredible in their own right. Not Dead is this bouncy pseudo-garage tune with a snappy, intricate sound design to boot that pairs brilliantly with the vocals from Clarence Clarity on this. Remnants is this moody, darker electro cut that splits that established electropop sound right down the middle in a way that very much still is electropop at its core, but is now covered in a veil of darkness just to kick things into a 5th gear with a drum and bass finale. Only for Sync 162 to bring it back to their roots with a catchy melody that's paired with another future garage foundation. I don't know if I'm totally out for lunch here, but I feel like I'm one of the only people that's super hot on these guys. I think their sound is so familiar yet creative and pleasing to really all types of listeners, even the non-EDM crowd. Here's to hoping we get a full Alter project in 2026. The trap genre as a whole has been pretty well established by this point. It had its big moments in the early to late 2010s and a decent revival in the last couple years with the more explosive nature to it thanks to artists like Skrillex and ISOXO. But releasing just 10 days into the year, I think we got one of the strongest and unique trap EPs of the decade. Hex Cougar starts off 2025 with what is undoubtedly his strongest record to date, in Embody. All 5 tracks here bring their own energy, vibe, and sound design while holistically playing their own part in one larger project. What I love more than anything about this EP is the progressive song structure of many tracks, making the tunes turn into this more grand anthemic style while firmly planting themselves still within that trap sound. I'm not really sure I've heard such a combo that has this energetic, high-octane trap feel, but also the constant building, beautiful progression that typically comes from a genre like house or trance. Hex Cougar has brought out a sound design that I love from trap, but with the structure of a song that originally made me fall in love with EDM as a whole. Ultra kicks off the tracklist with one of the more classic Hex Cougar sounding hybrid trap tunes with blaring synths and relentless percussion. Eyes has more of a intentional ebb and flow to the track with quiet intimate moments, only to crash in with that bouncy first melody and cinematic finale. Oxytocin to me is the real star of the show with what is Hex's probably most catchy tune to date that sounds like an atmospheric trap masterclass. Still in Love takes things into more garage territory, but doesn't let go of that progressive mentality at all, and Dream of You is a banger of a final track that brings the house down with a crunchy, more dubstep final statement piece. I've been a fan of Hex Cougar for many years now, but this just feels like his most complete, strongest, cohesive project I've ever heard from him. So rare is it that you get 5-track EPs like this, where every track cleanly fits into the overall tone of the holistic project, but is very uniquely its own. Top to bottom, one of the strongest trap projects of the decade, no doubt for me about that. This is probably the first and last time that an artist will land on a year in review list of mine that actually doesn't exist at the year's end by the time I'm recording this video. Not for any sad reasons, merely because they did a complete rebrand. And I'll say the rebrand is working very well for them, but the OG, well, the OG is still the best stuff in my eyes. Currently operating under the Run This alias, Splitter as an alias is now practically retired, but my goodness, what an EP this thing ended up being. Dropping the third day into 2025, Splitter's For Your Mind is still one of my favorite projects of the year, and quite frankly, I'm a little sad about the rebrand. Obviously, it's working out for him, but For Your Mind has to be the hottest underground project of the year. This EP is quintessential underground EDM to me. There is a distinct inspiration from the modern legends of ISOXO, Knock 2, and Skrillex across this record, but with a no-holding-back mentality at the forefront. There is a certain beauty in the emerging artists and underground sounds where the artist isn't really aiming for huge commercial success or pleasing a ton of people. They are clearly making music for the love of it, and that's where you find the best stuff. This EP is a fruitful combination of modern dubstep sound design and trap aesthetics with an overpouring of sampling to the point where it's almost a little egregious at times. But that's part of its charm, and I love it for that. In a year dominated by dubstep icons such as Skrillex and Space Laces, I really do think the best dubstep EP of the year belongs to Splitter. Dropping an EP can be a big deal for an artist, a packaged piece of work that encompasses a specific sound and or story that they're trying to tell is no easy task. But for others, an EP is just another day for the most part. Some artists drop 3 EPs in a year, and the fact that all of them are A tier is still astounding. But only one of them was S tier in my eyes. Yes, Au5 dropped 3 EPs in 2025, with Earthwave being the most unique of the bunch for a couple of reasons. While Au5 may be known as the GOAT of melodic dubstep, this EP in particular actually strays away from dubstep as a whole, tackling predominantly the sounds of future garage with some downtempo and chill-out elements sprinkled throughout. Furthermore, this is a collaborative project with new vocalist to the scene, Psyuri, who provides a beautiful vocal palette across each and every track. I actually had the pleasure of meeting Au5 and Psyuri at a show back in the fall of 2024, and if I had known what they were cooking in the middle of that, I mean, I would have told them how fantastic it was at the time, but I guess I'll have to do it here. Part of what makes Earthwave so special, though, is Au5's ability to use his melodic dubstep sound design to create a phenomenal atmosphere for a whole new soundscape. And yes, there are numerous times that a dubstep core sneaks out, and it wouldn't be an Au5 project if it didn't. I never get tired of hearing Au5's melodic dubstep production, as he truly is in a league of his own, but it's so nice to hear him tackle something else that I think provides me with maybe more greater appreciation for all that he does. The mixing, the sound design, the melodies, the overall production is just too good to pigeonhole to just one genre. Within the EP itself, Au5 is in a bit of a full flavor mood, giving us a taste of so many different tasting notes. Paradigm is an anthemic blend of future garage and melodic dubstep. Adrift is a down-tempo track with a sparkling palette. Heat is the kind of black sheep of the EP, living up to its namesake with a trio of explosive drops that range from intense dubstep to chilled-out garage. Of My Soul is the most emotion-filled track and keeps things a little more back to that down-tempo style, while Muted closes out the track list with some piano-dominated ambient that makes you feel like you're ascending into heaven. Au5 is no stranger to excellence in everything he does, and this EP is just another testament to his longevity as an artist. Just before we hop into the #1 spot, I just want to give some love to some EPs by the way of honorable mention. Projects that were fantastic in their own right, but just not enough to land a spot on my list this year. Some artists just have that special sauce, the X factor, a Midas touch if you will. Everything they lay their hands on turns to gold. I'm not a huge fan of trance or hard dance really, so if someone can lay their hands on that and make me fall in love with it, well, they definitely deserve the #1 spot on this list. No Mana's Odyssey Soundsystem is a sonic detour away from his more typical electro and progressive house production in favor of nostalgic trance melodies and hard techno beats. The features utilized throughout this quick 4-track EP could not have been any more perfect as well, as this 15-minute record is a self-contained diamond within a sea of boring projects of the same style. Even though I loved his 2024 album I Contain Flashing Images, I think Odyssey Soundsystem is his most thought out and well-packaged project yet. To me, the heart of this EP is right exactly in the middle, with the tracks Forget About Us and Losing Focus. Forget About Us brings on Nufori for production support and Lava Hong on vocals, as they embrace a nostalgia-induced hypertrance and hard dance tune with relentless kicks and serene sound design. I've heard so many people compare this track to something from Porter Robinson's own hypertrance alias Virtual Self, and while I believe that's a great comparison, I think this track actually blows Virtual Self out of the water. And following up the intensity of Forget About Us is the angelic and relaxing Losing Focus with Cusp and Bertie Scott on production assistance. This song may just be one of the catchiest melodies of the year. It's bouncy with a firm rhythm, yet elegant and soft to the point of it becoming quite comforting. Well, I believe that Odyssey Soundsystem and Phase 4 play more supportive roles on the overall grandeur of this project. They are absolutely stellar tunes in their own rights. The title track establishes the tone and lays the foundation for what's to come, while being its own mixture of hard dance and hard trance, with these kind of constant laser beam synths that makes you feel like you're piloting Star Fox's R-Wing through bullet hell. And Phase 4 closes out the EP as the most straightforward of the bunch, hitting that hard dance kick like nobody's business, and still making it palatable for the typically hard dance haters like myself. No Mana has been on a tear in the last couple years, pumping out some of the best quality EDM production that you can find. If you aren't tuned in, you are missing out. And that's it. That is my top 10 EDM EPs of 2025. Let me know what you guys think of the list and any other comments you have to say in the comment section below. I'm so curious to hear about your thoughts on my list here. Did you like it? Did you not? Somewhere in between, comment section below. But other than that, I'm Dakota from Bowtied Media, and I'll see you guys in another video.